After the horrors of the last couple of years at QPR, the aim this year really was just to progress into mid-table, to bed in new signings. We made 10 new signings over the summer, coming into a team that had been losing basically every week for 2.5 years under 4 different managers. So aims were pretty meagre this year. Can we get to Easter not panicking about other people's result? To look at us now with about a dozen games left, we're basically parring that course. It's felt like a weird season. If you'd asked me at the end of sort of October, November, I'd be like, well, you know, we've been circling the drain in the Championship for a while. This is it. We're probably going to go now. Bottom of the league, 5 points adrift. So to get from there to where we are, it's been, you know, a fun and exciting winter. You won't hear many QPR fans, any QPR fans really, with a bad word to say about Marty Cifuentes. He's very well respected and well liked by the fan base. So much so that when we did go on that run of 13 games without a win, the last one of those at home to Stoke, who were obviously a poor side, and we were lucky to get a 1-1 draw in that, and it felt like the club were about to maybe ditch Cifuentes at that point, but the fans sang his name all the way through the second half, made it very, very clear that, you know, the problems with the team at that stage were recruitment and injuries, neither of which were his fault. The best thing about Cifuentes since he's come in is that he's pragmatic and he just works with what he's got. We started this year perhaps a little bit arrogantly, because we'd ended last season so well. We had more FFP headroom in the summer. We were like, we won't have that Ainsworth start weighing us down. There was sort of optimism that maybe we could push on into the top half of the table, and we started the season with 3 midget 10s behind a striker and a super high press, and then as soon as you broke through that, you basically had 80 yards of free field, people just walking through the midfield, and you know, you don't win many games of football losing midfield, right? We've got back into things basically by stodging up the midfield, going to a sort of 4-3-3 with this tight, narrow mid-block midfield. We got a kid in the summer from Tottenham called Kieran Morgan, who was basically a development squad signing. I don't think anybody expected him to play first team football this year. And he just through running and tackling and heading, doing the hard yards, got a good engine, good legs. And that made just the difference because teams weren't walking through our midfield anymore. What we're starting to do now, sort of safe in mid-table, not making the playoffs, not getting relegated, is we're trying to open it up a little bit more. We're trying with to go more to 4-2-3-1. We're trying with the 3 tiny boys behind the striker again, and at home it's producing some good results and good performances. You'll know with the team selection basically, because if Kieran Morgan's playing, that basically means they're going a bit sort of pragmatic and stodgy, and if he's not, if it's sort of Field and Varane or Field and Colback or someone like that as a 2 with then 3 behind Frey, then we're going more open, more attacking. The answer to this for years and years, the biggest threat in the side has been Ilias Chair, right? He's been the best player at QPR for so long, and we're kind of surprised he's still here. Obviously, he had the criminal case, which probably put potential buyers off. This year he's had a really bad one with injury for the first time in his career so far. He had a back injury which kept him out of all of pre-season and the start of the season. He then came back and got a knee injury, so he's had no pre-season, no football really, came back a bit heavy. The last couple of home games against Blackburn and Derby, he scored 2 against Derby. He hadn't scored for 20 games before then, which is the longest run in his career. So just the hint that he's coming back to form. But I guess the form player at the moment really has come on strong since Christmas is a Japanese winger called Koki Saito. He's got this interesting dribbling technique which it doesn't look like it should work, but it does, and he's sort of like Steve Guppy, if you remember. He used to play for Leicester. It's like he's got one trick and you know what he's going to do, but it's a really, really good trick, so it's about stopping it. And weirdly, like most touches in the opposition box, I think most headers won in the opposition box, most efforts on goal this year is actually Jimmy Dunn, the right back that you guys tried to buy. Big threat at set pieces, Jimmy, like 6'4" right back, charging up and down the right side there. Teams have got a little bit wise to it, and there's been a lot of wrestling and blocking in the box. Certainly at Coventry recently it was like that, so he hasn't scored for a few games now, but he's had a great season. The weak link, I guess, is that midfield that I've talked about there. As soon as we open up, we take Morgan out and try to go with two midfielders so we can play more 10s. As soon as we open that midfield up, teams tend to walk through us. Sam Field has been a stalwart for the team for a long time and is a good, steady, reliable player. He's not playing particularly well at the moment. He's playing next to a lad, Jonathan Varane, who we got in the summer, who is improving and I think has all the capabilities to go on and be a real asset for us, but is very rocks and diamonds at the moment. Like, one week you see him in a game and you're just like, wow, what have we got here? And then the next week he plays like he played at Portsmouth at the weekend. You know, that midfield is much better when it has Morgan in there as a third man. You know, the difference between the parachute payment teams and the rest of us is the strikers. We're making our way through the season with Michy Frey, Zansella, a summer signing who's got a hamstring injury at the moment, so won't be playing at the weekend. But, you know, he scored 2 in his first 20 games, missed penalties and you know, has had a really tough start. And apart from that, you know, once you scratch below the surface of those two strikers, we're picking kids. We just don't have that prolific goal scorer, enough goals in the team to push on from where we are now towards playoffs, really. As a non-parachute payment team in the Championship, looking at the Sheffield United team that's coming here, I mean, I laughed so hard when Chris Wilder, who I like, by the way, was my first manager on local newspapers, actually, Chris Wilder, when he was at Alfreton. So, a lot of time for the guy. But when you lost 3-0 to Hull and he was talking about being down to the bare bones and the results been coming for ages in a game when you brought Brewster, Campbell, Vinicius Souza, Raksaki off the bench. Like, all 4 of those would be the best player in the QPR team. Like, and certainly those strikers are far better than any striker we've got. Kiefer Moore, Ben Brereton Diaz. Like, it's a ridiculous sort of situation. The parachute, the haves and the have-nots in this division. So I don't know about weaknesses, but the stark difference between, you know, your strikers and what you've got to pick from up front versus us trying to get through a season with Michy Frey and Zansella covered by Ryan Colley and Alfie Lloyd, it's stark, really. It's sort of like, it's cup tie levels of difference. We may as well go for it. We may as well give it a go. Like, we're mid-table, not going up, not going down. You know, there's no point in playing for draws or whatever. So let's take a swing at it. If you nail me to the wall, you know, optimistically, maybe we can get a draw out of it. I don't think we've had a draw for 10 or 11 games. So maybe that's my prediction, but I don't like giving predictions, to be honest. Social, the website's LoftForWords.co.uk and our socials on everywhere, like Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and evil Twitter is always just at LoftForWords. I suspect we'll finish in our hallowed position of 16th, which, you know, we love. So that's our natural habitat. We're a little bit above that at the moment, but our run-in is tough. Like, I would expect us to drop off quite dramatically through March because we play you guys. Then we have a horrible week where we're away at West Brom Saturday, away at Middlesbrough Tuesday, and then at home to Leeds early game Saturday. That doesn't smell like a lot of points to me. And then we've got some okay fixtures after that, but we finish with Burnley at home and Sunderland away. So I suspect we'll regress to the mean a little bit and finish 16th. Sheffield United, unfortunately, I was hoping you guys were going to do Leeds on Monday, but I just think I said Leeds at the start of the year are going to win the league, and I think they are. They're just too good, sadly, because I hate them. So then you're playing for second, I guess, and of the 3 teams, Sunderland seems to have dropped away. I fancy Sheffield United much more than Burnley, simply because I cannot abide Scott Parker's football. I find it unwatchable, and, you know, I know Gary Weaver keeps shouting about what Burnley are doing is extraordinary, but like, could you watch that every week? Trying to 0-0 your way up. You know, so I hope it's Sheffield United, and I think it will be, just because I think there's goals in the Sheffield United team in a way that there aren't in the Burnley team. So yeah, if you nailed me to the wall, then I'm terrible at predictions. Probably Sheffield United to sneak the second spot.